Hello, and welcome back to Restly. Thank you for joining us tonight. Here at Restly, we believe the best way to quiet a busy mind isn't through emptiness, but through gentle fascination. Tonight, we will examine the Bermuda Triangle, a specific area of the Atlantic Ocean known for unusual disappearances. This region is famous because many ships and planes have been reported lost without a trace. We will look at the location, the most famous incidents, and the scientific theories offered to explain the mystery. And tonight, we'll wander through 100 fascinating truths about them. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, consider liking and subscribing, or share some thoughts in the comments. It helps others find their way here too. But for now, you don't need to do anything at all. Just let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing fall into its own rhythm. Now, if you are ready, let's begin. Our journey begins by charting the boundaries of this infamous section of the North Atlantic Ocean, known primarily as the Bermuda Triangle, though it is sometimes chillingly referred to as the Devil's Triangle. A vast oceanic area roughly bounded by 3 specific points that define the region of its reported disappearances. The traditional vertices of this mysterious region stretch from Miami, Florida, connecting across the Atlantic to the island of Bermuda, and completing the triangle by extending down to San Juan, Puerto Rico, encompassing a significant, heavily traveled portion of the ocean. This area covers approximately 500,000 square miles of ocean, an immense surface area that is officially not recognized on any world map as a registered or named nautical territory, highlighting its status as purely a cultural and sensational designation. The mysteries of this region have captured public imagination since the middle of the 20th century, though reports of strange events date back much further, and the total number of losses is often cited as more than 50 ships and 20 aircraft over the last century alone, though the exact figures are constantly debated and challenged by skeptical researchers. The phrase Bermuda Triangle was first coined and popularized in a 1964 pulp magazine article written by Vincent Gaddis, who illuminated a perceived pattern of disappearing vessels and planes within this specific geographical region, creating the aura of mystery that endures to this day. Before this modern naming, the nearby Sargasso Sea already had an ancient reputation as a foreboding, mysterious region of the ocean where ships could become becalmed and trapped for long periods by thick, floating seaweed, demonstrating a long-standing tradition of nautical anxiety in the area. It is vital to note that despite its fearsome reputation, organizations like the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration consistently state that there is no statistical evidence that mysterious disappearances occur with any greater frequency in the Bermuda Triangle than in any other large, well-traveled area of the ocean, attributing incidents to natural phenomena and human error. However, the sheer volume of maritime traffic and amateur air travel through this region, as it is a major shipping and travel hub between the Americas and Europe, naturally increases the number of incidents, making it a statistical likelihood that more accidents would occur here than in less traveled waters. The location is uniquely positioned over some of the most dramatic underwater topography on Earth. The area transitions rapidly from the gently sloping continental shelf to one of the deepest drop-offs in the world, known as the Puerto Rico Trench, which plunges to depths of over 8,376 meters, or about 27,480 feet, making any wreckage that sinks into this trench virtually impossible to find or recover. The lack of wreckage in many famous incidents is a central component of the mystery, as the immense depth of the ocean floor, combined with the power of the Gulf Stream current, which rushes through the triangle, could swiftly sweep away debris, leaving search teams empty-handed. This interplay of deep-sea trenches and powerful, sweeping currents is the cold, physical reality behind the sensational stories. The silent, geological backdrop that underpins every theory and every unsolved loss in the vast, watery expanse of the triangle. The history of the triangle is marked by massive, unexplained losses at sea, none more profound than the vanishing of the United States ship Cyclops in March 1918, which remains the single largest loss of life in United States Navy history, not involving combat, contributing a profound military mystery to the region's lore. This enormous naval collier or supply ship was en route from Brazil to Baltimore, Maryland, carrying a cargo of manganese ore, and was lost with all 306 crew members and passengers on board. A vast disappearance that occurred without a single distress signal being sent or any wreckage ever being found, leaving the Navy completely baffled. The loss of the Cyclops was so mysterious that it was later followed by the disappearance of her two sister ships, the United States ship Proteus and the United States ship Nereus, both of which also vanished in the same area during the Second World War, while carrying similar heavy bauxite cargoes, leading to speculation that a design flaw or the corrosive nature of the cargo may have caused the aging ships to suddenly break up in heavy seas. Another chilling early sea mystery involves the sailing ship Rosalie, which was reportedly found abandoned in the Bermuda Triangle in 1840, sailing mysteriously without a single soul on board. Yet, with its sails set and its cargo intact, a disturbing image of a ghost ship sailing silently under the tropical sun. The strange tale of the Ellen Austen adds to the legend of abandoned ships. In 1881, the Ellen Austin allegedly found a derelict vessel, placed a small crew aboard it to sail it to port, only for the derelict ship to vanish again, only to be found later completely abandoned a second time. A recursive mystery that seems to defy logic. The Carol A. Deering, a 5-masted schooner, was found aground and completely abandoned at Diamond Shoals, near Cape Hatteras, in 1921, with all the crew missing, but with lifeboats, personal effects, and even a meal laid out in the galley, suggesting an extremely sudden and organized departure under duress. The modern era contributed the baffling disappearance of the steamship Cotopaxi in 1925, a steamer that sent a distress call indicating it was sinking, while en route to Havana, Cuba, and was officially listed as overdue, yet its wreck remained a total mystery for nearly a century, until it was tentatively identified in 2020 off the coast of Florida, suggesting many vanishings may simply be cases of ships sinking too quickly to radio for help. The recurrent theme in these sea mysteries is the utter lack of salvageable evidence. No bodies, no lifeboats, and no oil slicks, leading to the sensational theories that the vessels were either swallowed instantly by the sea or plucked clean by an unseen force. These deep nautical losses, often involving large ships in unknown circumstances, cement the Triangle's reputation as a place where the ordinary rules of ocean travel simply do not apply, leading us to examine the equally baffling disappearances that took place high above the waves. No incident defines the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle more powerfully than the catastrophic disappearance of Flight 19 on December 5th, 1945, a routine training mission involving 5 United States Navy TBM Avenger torpedo bombers that vanished over the Atlantic, losing 14 airmen and providing the core narrative of the Triangle's eerie reputation. The 5 planes took off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a standard navigation exercise, but radio communications revealed the flight leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, becoming severely disoriented, reporting that both his compass and his backup compass were malfunctioning, an unsettling sign of inexplicable navigational failure. Disturbingly, the last radio transmissions intercepted from the flight contained confused, chaotic messages among the pilots discussing their compasses and their position, with one pilot suggesting they were unsure if they were over the Florida Keys or the Bahamas. An astonishing loss of situational awareness among trained pilots. The severity of the situation was amplified when a PBM Mariner flying boat, known as PBM-5, Buno 59,225, carrying 13 crew members, was dispatched as one of the rescue aircraft to search for Flight 19, only to also vanish without a trace shortly after reporting contact, adding a second layer of tragedy and mystery to the total loss of 6 aircraft and 27 men in one evening. Witnesses reported seeing an explosion in the sky near the rescue plane's last known position. A plausible explanation given the mariners' known technical issues with aviation fuel fumes, but no wreckage of either the rescue plane or any of the 5 Avenger bombers was ever definitively recovered. A critical element that perpetuates the vanishing narrative. The Navy's official inquiry struggled to assign blame, eventually concluding that the cause was unknown, with the final report suggesting the pilot was suffering from temporary disorientation, a vague conclusion that only served to deepen the public's perception of a mysterious force at work in the area. Another famous aerial vanishing was the loss of the Star Tiger in January 1948, and its sister ship, the Star Ariel, in January 1949. 2 British South American Airways passenger planes that disappeared on flights near the Triangle, both losing contact suddenly with no distress signal, leading to the chilling implication of a repeated catastrophic mechanism. The loss of the Star Tiger was particularly unnerving, as the crew's last known communication simply reported clear weather conditions, contradicting the eventual official conclusion that a sudden, violent storm was the most likely cause, leaving the question of why no distress call was made. These high-profile military and civilian losses in the airspace over the Triangle became the foundation upon which all subsequent theories were built, demonstrating a consistent pattern of sudden, complete systemic failure in both navigation and communication, moving from magnetism to geology. Some of the most compelling natural explanations for the navigational chaos reported by Flight 19 and other vessels centers on the magnetic properties of the Bermuda Triangle region, which features unique anomalies that could easily lead to human error and disaster. The Bermuda Triangle is one of only 2 places on Earth, the other being an area near the South Pole, where a standard magnetic compass points toward true north rather than the less accurate magnetic north, a phenomenon caused by the Earth's complex magnetic field lines converging in a region known as the agonic line. This crucial distinction means that mariners and pilots must adjust their compass readings, compensate for variation in the surrounding areas. But if a pilot unfamiliar with the area failed to account for this sudden transition as they entered the agonic line, their directional instruments would instantly become misleading. The magnetic confusion caused by this line, which passes directly through the triangle, is amplified by the fact that the actual magnetic North Pole shifts constantly, meaning the position of the agonic line is not static, but changes over time, adding another layer of unpredictability to navigation in the region. Sailors often report experiencing compasses spinning violently or behaving erratically when traversing the triangle, a phenomenon that has been documented throughout history and is sometimes attributed to rare, localized magnetic vortices or pockets of unusual electromagnetic activity, though the exact cause remains speculative. These compass issues become particularly critical when combined with human error, as the sudden failure of trusted instruments in a region prone to rapidly forming storms could easily lead an inexperienced pilot or captain to lose all sense of direction, causing them to fly or sail until they run out of fuel or collide with the deep ocean. Theories also suggest that geomagnetic storms originating from the sun could interact with the Earth's magnetic field over the triangle, creating transient but powerful electromagnetic disturbances that could momentarily scramble sensitive electronic equipment, rendering modern satellite navigation and communications systems useless. This interference, whether natural or otherwise, gives rise to accounts of electronic fog, a visual and electromagnetic distortion reported by some survivors who claim their instruments went dark and visibility was suddenly reduced by an unsettling, luminous haze, a bizarre phenomenon that adds a truly alien quality to the nautical environment. The sheer volume of shipwrecks in the area is also partly due to the extensive, treacherous coral reef systems that surround the Bermuda Islands and the shallow waters off the coast of Florida, which were particularly dangerous for large vessels before the advent of accurate modern sonar and satellite navigation, ensuring that the geography itself has always been a ruthless factor in oceanic disasters, moving from magnetism to geology. Some of the most compelling scientific theories for the disappearances involve powerful, naturally occurring geophysical events that could sink ships and planes so quickly that no distress call or wreckage could be recovered. The methane hydrate theory is one of the most powerful scientific arguments. This theory posits that massive concentrations of frozen methane gas, methane hydrate, formed by decomposing marine organisms, are trapped deep within the sediments of the ocean floor along the continental shelf beneath the triangle. If a geological rupture or underwater earthquake were to occur, these pressurized methane pockets could suddenly destabilize, causing the methane ice to turn rapidly back into gas, which would violently erupt in giant bubbles that burst onto the ocean's surface without warning. If a ship were to sail over the site of one of these methane gas blowouts, the water directly beneath it would suddenly lose buoyancy as the density of the water rapidly decreases, a phenomenon akin to sailing into a giant foam patch, causing the vessel to sink instantly and plummet to the ocean floor in mere seconds before any crew member could react or radio for help. The force of the eruption would be so violent that it could also affect aircraft flying low overhead, potentially causing engine flameout if the dense methane gas cloud were to rise high enough to enter the air intakes of a jet or propeller plane, resulting in an immediate and fatal loss of power. Another scientific theory points to the prevalence of rogue waves, massive, unpredictable ocean waves that can appear suddenly even in relatively calm seas, reaching heights of up to 30 meters or 100 feet, which would be powerful enough to smash and submerge even the largest, most modern ships without leaving a trace of debris. The sheer power of the Gulf Stream, which flows northward through the triangle at speeds of up to 4 knots, adds another layer of environmental danger, creating rapid changes in ocean currents and temperatures, leading to sudden, violent localized storms that can build up and dissipate quickly, surprising sailors and pilots who may not have time to react. The unpredictable nature of the weather in this region, which is also a frequent path for tropical cyclones and hurricanes, means that many disappearances attributed to paranormal phenomena were likely the result of freak weather events that were either misreported or simply too fast-moving to be accounted for. The rapid change in underwater topography, from the shallow reefs of the Bahamas to the massive drop into the Puerto Rico Trench, acts like a natural trap, confusing both currents and sonar equipment, providing ample opportunity for vessels to run aground and sink quickly into the darkness, moving into the realm of the truly inexplicable. Many popular and enduring theories about the triangle involve paranormal or extraterrestrial phenomena, driven by the bizarre nature of reports from the few who have claimed to survive an anomalous encounter. One of the most common and strange reports is the phenomenon of time warps, or electronic fog, where witnesses claim their aircraft or vessel was suddenly enveloped in a thick, luminous, strange-colored haze, causing compasses to spin, instruments to fail, and the sudden feeling of lost time or accelerated travel. The most famous example of this is the account of pilot Bruce Jernon, who claimed to have lost several minutes of flight time after passing through a strange, rotating, dense fog bank over the triangle, emerging to find he had inexplicably covered vast distances in an impossible time frame. The triangle is often cited as a major hotspot for sightings of unidentified flying objects, leading to the theory that the disappearances are a result of alien abduction, where ships and planes are selectively targeted and removed from the surface by an advanced, non-terrestrial intelligence. This theory is sometimes expanded to suggest the triangle may contain an underwater alien base, a secret extraterrestrial installation that is using advanced technology to disrupt the Earth's natural systems for unknown purposes, accounting for the reported magnetic and electronic anomalies. Furthermore, the mysterious, sudden disappearances where contact is severed without warning and no debris is found, have led some to suggest that the triangle may be a transdimensional portal or a gateway to another planet, where the missing vessels are simply plucked from our reality into another dimension. The theory of infrasound, or low-frequency sound waves below human hearing, is another strange but scientific theory, suggesting that the ocean itself, or a powerful weather event, could generate powerful, inaudible sound waves that cause crew members to experience intense fear, panic, nausea, and disorientation, leading them to abandon their ships or make fatal navigational errors. Another strange theory involves free-floating crystals or remnants from the legendary lost city of Atlantis, which proponents claim was powered by highly concentrated, advanced energy crystals that now lie on the ocean floor in an altered, destabilized state, sporadically emitting rays of energy that cause magnetic interference and equipment failure. These extraordinary speculative theories, though lacking hard scientific proof, are a testament to the powerful psychological effect the triangle has on human imagination, forcing the public to consider solutions beyond the conventional limits of known physics and nature. Among the missing vessels, a uniquely chilling subset of incidents involves ships that were found floating perfectly intact, yet completely and mysteriously abandoned, leading to the eerie phenomenon of the Bermuda Triangle's ghost ships. The legendary tale of the Ellen Austin, 1881, focuses on the idea of a derelict ship being found twice, with the captain of the Ellen Austin placing a prize crew aboard the deserted vessel to sail it back to port, only for the two ships to separate in a squall. And when the Ellen Austin later relocated the prize ship, the entire prize crew had vanished, leaving the derelict vessel once again sailing silently and alone. The abandoned schooner Carol A. Deering, 1921, is another chilling example. When found near Cape Hatteras, the ship's log was missing, the navigational instruments were gone, and even the crew's personal effects were left behind. Yet the vessel itself was undamaged, suggesting the crew abandoned ship in a hurry, under circumstances that allowed them no time to broadcast a distress signal. The 1944 disappearance of the Rubicon, a Cuban freighter, is another strange case. It was discovered floating undamaged in the triangle, with only a dog found alive on board, and the entire crew had vanished, lending credence to the idea that the disappearance was sudden and not weather-related. Adding to this unsettling pattern, the Mary Celeste, though technically lost outside the accepted boundaries of the triangle, shares the chilling mystery of being found fully intact and sailing, but completely abandoned by its crew, a historical precedent that fuels the ghost ship narrative. A more recent case involves a yacht named Rivanok in 1958, which was lost with its owner and 4 others during a hurricane. But the only trace ever found was its small, detached skiff near Jupiter, Florida, suggesting the crew may have attempted to abandon the yacht in a sudden storm. The eerie theme across these cases is that the vessels appeared to be fully seaworthy, with no signs of collision, fire, or catastrophic structural damage, forcing theories to shift away from natural disasters toward external, immediate threats or internal psychological events, such as mass hysteria or sudden, unexplained panic among the crew. This unsettling pattern of abandonment, vessels found sailing in good order, but devoid of human life, creates a compelling narrative that the force at work in the triangle is selective, capable of removing people without destroying the evidence of the ship itself. The history of strange reports from the region predates the modern era by centuries, stretching all the way back to the very first European contact with the New World, with none other than Christopher Columbus providing some of the earliest recorded evidence of anomalies in the area. Columbus, during his first voyage across the Atlantic in 1492, specifically recorded in his ship's log 2 strange, inexplicable events that occurred as he passed through the area that would later be known as the Triangle, providing a historical foundation for the region's mysterious reputation. The first anomaly noted by Columbus was that his magnetic compass behaved erratically, displaying peculiar and unpredictable readings, an experience that mirrors the navigational issues reported by countless vessels and aircraft 5 centuries later. The second, more visual anomaly recorded by Columbus involved witnessing a massive ball of flame fall from the sky and crash into the ocean, a dramatic and unexplained celestial event that he carefully documented, which some modern theorists suggest could have been a meteor, a large piece of space debris, or perhaps even an early sighting of an unidentified flying object. Furthermore, Columbus's crew also reported seeing strange lights glowing on the horizon late at night as they sailed through the region, a visual phenomenon that could be attributed to bioluminescence or distant fires, but which added to the unsettling, unearthly atmosphere of the ocean area. The waters of the Triangle were historically known as being a difficult and dangerous region for early Spanish galleons and explorer ships, not due to supernatural causes, but due to the presence of uncharted reefs and the sheer unpredictability of the Gulf Stream current, which could easily push sailing vessels off course. The Spanish colonization of the region also led to the Triangle becoming a highly trafficked area for ships carrying immense amounts of treasure, gold, silver, and precious goods back to Spain, making it a prime location for piracy. And many historical disappearances may simply be the result of raids by pirates, with the ships being scuttled and the treasure stolen. The Triangle also sits near a vast system of deep underwater trenches, including the Puerto Rico Trench, which provided perfect hiding places for buccaneers to lay in wait for passing vessels. A very human explanation for many of the region's early losses. The earliest recorded suggestions of mysterious disappearances in the broader Bermuda area appeared in articles dating back to the middle of the 19th century, long before Geddes coined the term, demonstrating a long-standing journalistic awareness of the region's disproportionate number of missing vessels, despite the lure of the paranormal. The most rational explanations for the high number of incidents in the Bermuda Triangle lie in a combination of environmental and oceanographic factors unique to the region. The triangle is defined by the incredible power of the Gulf Stream, a swift, warm, and massive ocean current that flows up from the Gulf of Mexico, rushing through the area like a powerful, silent river, capable of carrying wreckage and debris vast distances very quickly, which explains why search efforts rarely yield physical evidence. The Gulf Stream current is so powerful that it can easily alter weather patterns, creating sudden shifts in the sea state and microbursts of strong wind that can surprise and overwhelm small aircraft and ships. Another crucial factor is the extreme depth variations, as the area includes both the shallow, coral-strewn Bahamas Bank, where grounding is a frequent danger, and the immense, deep drop-offs into the Puerto Rico Trench, meaning that a vessel lost in the shallows is easily found, while one lost in the deeper sections vanishes forever. The sudden, localized fogs that often plague the area are an environmental phenomenon created when warm, moist air from the Gulf Stream meets cool air from the north, creating a dense, sudden reduction in visibility that can disorient pilots and sailors, forcing them to rely on instruments that may already be compromised by magnetic anomalies. The triangle is a primary location for tropical storms, depressions, and full-blown hurricanes, which can generate wind speeds and massive waves capable of sinking any ship or downing any plane. And often these devastating weather events were either omitted or minimized by sensationalist writers in their accounts of calm weather disappearances. In fact, the number of aircraft and vessels lost in the triangle, when compared proportionally to the immense amount of air and sea traffic that successfully passes through the area daily, is statistically insignificant and is not higher than any other heavily traveled section of the world's oceans. The persistent myth is largely a result of sloppy research, where writers like Charles Berlitz included incidents that occurred outside the triangle's boundaries, exaggerated calm sea conditions, or failed to mention that a missing vessel was later found, or that the accident was clearly attributed to known human error. For instance, the loss of the United States ship Cyclops and its sister ships is now plausibly explained by the inherent structural flaws of the aging colliers, combined with the stress of their heavy ore cargo. A tragic but rational explanation. Our final consideration is the nature of the Bermuda Triangle's enduring legend itself, a mystery that is often described by critics as manufactured or solved, yet holds an undeniable, permanent place in our global consciousness. The phenomenon was greatly popularized by the 1974 best-selling book, The Bermuda Triangle, by Charles Berlitz, who sensationalized a number of existing incidents and introduced highly fanciful theories, including the idea of the lost city of Atlantis being the culprit, igniting global fascination. However, a crucial rebuttal to the paranormal theories came from researcher Larry Kush, whose 1975 book, The Bermuda Triangle Mystery, solved meticulously cross-referenced Berlitz's claims with original ship logs and weather reports, finding that many disappearances occurred outside the triangle were fully explained by storms, or that crucial details like radio distress calls were omitted to create a deeper sense of mystery. Kush's research established that writers often focused solely on the loss of a vessel, while ignoring the fact that many ships and planes pass through the region every day without incident, creating a confirmation bias that skewed the perception of danger in the region. The continuous search for the missing wreckage from Flight 19, despite the lack of success, continues to draw the public's attention back to the region, acting as a perpetual reminder of the core mystery. A search effort that is now aided by the very same technologies, such as advanced sonar and satellite imagery, that the missing aviators lacked. The sheer depth of the ocean in the triangle ensures that most wreckage that sinks will never be recovered, which ironically fuels the myth, as the absence of evidence becomes the evidence of the mystery, sustaining the idea of something being swallowed without a trace. And despite the scientific consensus, the allure of the paranormal explanations, time travel, alien abductions, and mysterious vortices remains powerful because they offer a more thrilling and dramatic narrative than the mundane realities of human error, magnetic variation, and rogue waves, speaking to our primal human desire for the world to hold deep, unknown secrets. The Bermuda Triangle has become a metaphor for the limits of human control, a powerful symbol of the vastness and indifference of the ocean, where even our most advanced technology can be rendered useless by a combination of natural forces. And as we conclude our quiet exploration of this famous region, let us appreciate the enduring power of its mysteries, a final, calming contemplation of the ocean's silent secrets.